Hey guys, today is day 7 of the challenge. Today I'm going to talk to you about a very common topic, which is I can understand English but I'm not able to speak. Okay, so this is a very common problem which we all go through in our life. So this is a phase which is a learning phase wherein we start learning to speak English, or we start learning this language, and then we start feeling that it's so difficult for us to speak, right? When we start learning English, we are able to understand it, right? We can read and understand, we can listen and understand. If somebody is speaking English to us, we are able to understand, but it's just that when it's our turn to reply back or share our thoughts on it, we are not able to translate it. Okay, or rather we are not able to speak out. And this happens to every single person. It has happened to me as well. It's not something which has not happened to me. I was not born with English, right? I have also learnt English and have also put efforts to speak English. That is why today I am able to speak English at least. So don't worry, it's not a problem. It's just a phase which you are going through. So guys, in this video I'm going to discuss about 3 reasons why we are not able to speak English, and I'm going to give out 3 solutions to you how to correct this. Okay, so guys, welcome back. I'm a communications coach and a soft skill trainer by profession, and I'm here to help out with all your communication problems, and I'm going to help you out to speak English fluently and confidently. Yes. So let's get started. Coming to the first problem, or the first reason why we are not able to speak in spite of understanding everything. I'm going to ask you a question. My question is, can you please tell me what you have eaten 2 days back for lunch? Question number 2. Can you please tell me what have you eaten today for breakfast? Now guys, you tell me, question is easy for you. The second one, right? So you remember that what you had for breakfast today. You can say I had dosa for breakfast, or whatever you had, you remember that, right? And you are able to say it. But when I ask you like 2 days back, what did you had for breakfast? You have to think, right? Think a lot, like what I had. And many times you are not able to recall that as well, right? So this is not a problem. It's something which is very natural for us, right? We don't remember things, every single thing what has happened every day to us, right? So it takes some time for us to think about it, and sometimes we remember and sometimes we don't, right? This is what happens with speaking also, right? If you're not very much in practice, or if something you don't do regularly, or it is a routine for you, it will be difficult for you to speak. Okay, so things will not come into your mind easily. You have to stress, you have to tax your brain, you have to recall things. Okay, and then it's the same, at times it will come to you or it will not come to you. So this is one reason why you're not able to speak. Okay, because you're not in practice. Second one is, we have a study method, right? We go to school, we have done our schooling, we have done our college, and then we enter our professional life as well. So the whole education system is such that it is more of input based. Now what is this input based? So I'm going to talk about 2 theories, which is input based and output based. Input based means when you're studying in a school or a college, it is more of like, they focus on reading and listening, right? When you are in a class, what you do, either you read from your book or you listen to your teacher. Okay, there is no session wherein you have to speak, It's just that the teacher will speak and you have to listen, or the professor will speak and you have to listen, right? So this is input based. Now what is output based? Output based is just the opposite of input based, wherein you have to more rely on output, like practice, speaking and writing, right? So writing is something which you have to write and you have to learn, right? So that is, you have to give the output in writing, or when you're speaking, you are giving the output, or you are speaking out. Okay, so this is what input and output based. So our education system is such that we are programmed for input based. So that is why we learn English there in school and college. We learn to speak English, we learn to understand, we learn to read English, we learn to understand English. But since we don't have practice, it gets difficult for us to speak and write for that matter. We are not in much practice about writing as well. We only give exams and all. So we are not very good in writing, and we are not at all good in speaking. So that is the second reason why we are not very, we are not able to speak. Okay, in spite of understanding everything. The third reason is, whenever somebody asks you a question in English, for example, if somebody asks you, what is your hobby? Okay, so what you do is immediately something comes to your mind. Okay, so it comes to your cooking comes to your mind and you want to say it, but then you control yourself and start thinking that how do I frame this, right? Okay, so is it I like cooking, or I love cooking, or should I say my hobby is cooking? It starts happening. You start thinking in your head, and that slows down the process. Okay, so this is another reason. Or you start translating. If you don't have a word in English, or you don't know how to immediately reply in English, what you start thinking is, okay, my hobby is cooking, मुझे cooking अच्छी लगती है, so how do I say that? Okay, and then you start translating it. So it becomes a slow process, and you start thinking and you are just caught up in thinking, and it gets difficult for you to speak then, or you delay in speaking so that the other person gets disinterested to talk to you. Okay, so that confusion or that translation also is a reason where you're not able to speak properly, or you're not able to speak in English. Now let's see how we can solve this problem. Okay, as I mentioned in every case that practice is something which is the ultimate, which is the ultimate goal which you have to achieve, because without practicing you will not be able to speak. So as I told you about the recall value, you will not be able to recall if you have done something a week back, or 2 days back, or 3 days back. So if you have studied English, or you have studied some topic of English, or you have read some article, or if you have listened to some podcast in English on certain topic, and if the same topic comes up after a week or 2 days or 3 days later, if somebody speaks on that, instead of knowing everything, instead of listening to that podcast, you have already had those, that knowledge, but you will not be able to speak, because it's not fresh in your mind and you are not able to recall it, right? So that is why the shopping websites and this food apps, what they do, they show you the options, right? Or the shopping app shows you your last purchases, which reminds you of, okay, I have purchased this, so you can find similar items or what next to purchase. So they play with your psychology, or the recall value basically, which is called in marketing. Okay, so that is why they give you a lot of options so that you can just choose. You don't have to think more. You just can choose, and you can immediately order the thing. Okay, so this is why practice is very important. Now coming to the solution, the first solution is learn by topic. Okay, so what does this mean, learn by topic? I'll give you an example. Let's take an example of shopping. Okay, so we can say I'm going out for shopping. I'm going to a shopping mall. I love shopping. It will take 2 to 3 hours for me to shop. or I need money for shopping. So we come up with a lot of sentences or a lot of things which is related to shopping. So here what we can do is we can select a topic and we can see how many sentences are what vocabulary or what words are used for that particular topic. Like we have taken shopping. So the vocabulary will be mall, buy stuffs or clothes, stores or clothing brands. So those are the shopping vocabulary. Now apart from this, we can also use phrases. Okay, so what are the phrases which we can use for shopping? Shopping spree. We are on a shopping spree. Okay. Shopping howl. This is another phrase which we can use. So likewise, a lot of phrases and words which are related to a particular topic. Okay, this topic was shopping. We can take friendship, we can take movies, we can take or entertainment, we can take sports. There are a lot of vocabularies or words which are used in particular topics, and there are phrases also which we can come up with. Okay, so I would suggest if you can just start learning by topic. You can take one topic every day. You can listen to podcasts, you can listen to talk shows, you can listen to TED Talks or anything for that matter. You can listen to a lot of stuffs are available online. So whichever topic you are interested in, you can just listen to the celebrities, you can listen to sports personality or any eminent personality who is related to that industry or that topic. Okay, so you can just start going through those vocabularies and those collect those phrases and the words which are related to that topic and write it down and start making sentences out of it. Once you start making sentences out of it on your own, trust me guys, it will be there in your head forever. And you have to practice it also. So start using those vocabularies and those phrases in your sentences. Start building up your sentence. Start coming up with short paragraphs on that topic. Okay, start coming up with a summary. If you have heard somebody, if you have heard some podcast on that topic, start coming up with a summary. So in this way you will practice English, you will learn how to speak English, you will learn how to remember those as well. Okay, so take different topics every day and start doing this exercise. Trust me, this will be very beneficial for you. Anywhere, everywhere, wherever you go, choose everyday topics which are commonly used. Okay, so if for example me, I go to take sessions, right? I go and meet my friends, I go and meet my relatives, I go for shopping and a lot of other stuffs. So I'll think about, like, if I'm going for a session, what all topics can come up. Of course, I'm going to talk about English and communication skills. So those topics, of course, is going to come up, right? So I'll prepare on that. If I'm going to meet my relatives, I know what all topics can come up, right? Or if I'm going to meet my friends, what all topics we are going to discuss there. So we have a clue or, clue in mind. So we can discuss, prepare those topics, and if you prepare those topics, it will be easier for you to speak on those. So that is why learn English by topic, or topic wise you have to learn English. Learn English means learn vocabulary, phrases and making sentences out of it. Okay. One more thing you can add adjectives to your vocabulary. So whatever new word you have learned, you can, start adding an adjective to it. Okay, for example, shopping. Interesting shopping experience. Okay, a good shopping experience. Okay, so you can just start building up your sentences and words. Okay, this will help you. Coming to the second solution is write before you speak. As I told you that, once you collect new words and phrases and adjectives, okay, then start using it in sentences. But if you can write down that, of course you have maintained a notebook wherein you are writing those words, phrases, adjectives and sentences, coming up with sentences and summary. So what you can do here is, when you have to speak about it, you can also jot down some ideas, right? So when you do this exercise, so whenever you have to speak on any topic, you can just do one thing beforehand. You can just take 2 minutes or 5 minutes and jot down some ideas. Okay, so that this will help you to collect all the information in one place, so that once you start speaking, and if you have a look at that thing, or of course you have just written down, so it will be there in your head, so it will be easier for you to speak on that. Okay, you will have the ideas in place since you have written it down, so it will be very easy for you to speak. Trust me guys, try this. So I'll give you an example. When we prepare for presentations or any other sessions, or okay, if we take for example presentations, we have presentations in schools, colleges and offices as well, right? So what do? How do we prepare a presentation? We prepare some slides, right? And we write down something, right? We have pointers, like point wise we have written something, or we write 1 or 2 sentences also there. So why are those pointers there? So that when you give presentation, it reminds you of the idea, like okay, the first point is this, so I have to discuss about this, okay, and then you speak about it. Okay, so it's just a clue which is given to you, right? Or you write. The same way, before speaking, you have to prepare some clues, jot down some ideas, so that it's there in your head and you will be able to speak about it. It's the best method. I do it every time. Try doing this, guys. It's going to help you a lot. One is practice. As I told you, I'll give an example. For example, you say that, I say that I'm a good cook, or I cook biryani. I can cook a good biryani. But if I only say I know the recipe and I can tell you how it is cooked and everything, but I have never cooked biryani, but I can say that I can, cook a decent or a very good biryani, because I know the recipe, I know the measurements, and I can tell you how you can cook a good biryani. Okay, does this make sense? No. Unless you cook biryani and everybody says that, or you eat and say that, yeah, it is a good biryani, you cannot cook a good biryani. You don't know if you can cook a good biryani, right? So it's the same with speaking also. You know everything, you understand English, you have all the words and you have everything in place, okay, but it's just that you have not spoken. So that is why practice is important. If you're a good cook, if you have cooked, or if you cook over time, it improves, right? Even if you're a good cook, if you cook it more and more or every single day, it's going to improve, right? The same is the case with speaking in English. The more you speak, the more you improve. So that is why practice is very important. So you have to practice. How do you practice? Now, I know a lot of people have excuses. I don't have a speaking partner. I don't have anybody who can speak to me. I don't have, my friends are not ready to speak to me, or I don't have any relative or any, sibling of mine who can speak to me. I'm all alone. So, it's very difficult for me to speak to somebody, get hold of somebody and start talking in English. Relax. You don't need any partner. It is preferable, but then just to start off with, you don't need anybody till the time you are a little confident of going out and speaking to somebody. Okay, so what you can do is, you can talk in front of the mirror about your day-to-day activities, how your day was like, or any plans you are making, or any ideas you have, or anything you've heard today, or any news, or any podcast you have listened to, or any movie you have watched, or any sports show, or any talk show, or any comedy show, whatever you have watched. You can just discuss it in front of the mirror, or when you are in bed, you can talk to yourself in English about any topic, anything, right? When you're brushing your teeth, you can talk to yourself. When you are in the kitchen, you are cooking, you can talk to yourself. When you're walking down the lane, or in the park, you can talk to yourself. Oh wait, if you feel uncomfortable while talking to yourself in the park, or when you're crossing the lane, or you're roaming around in your mohalla, what you can do is you can just put a headphone and pretend that you're listening to something or you're talking to somebody. Isn't it a great idea? Yes. So whenever you get time, guys, please utilize it in speaking. The more you speak, the more you practice, the better you get every single time. So guys, it's a wrap, and these 3 solutions are really going to help you. Try using these simple solutions. It will change your life. See you. Bye-bye.